Drought ranks second in terms of national weather-related economic impacts, with annual losses nearing $9 billion each year in the US alone. Beyond direct economic impact, drought also threatens drinking water supplies and ecosystems and can even contribute to increased food prices. There are four different kinds of drought: meteorological drought, hydrological drought, agricultural drought, and socio-economic drought. The first three are physical phenomena and the last is about supply and demand. Meteorological drought is specific to different regions. For example, a drought in Denmark isn't going to be the same as in Africa. A drought in Denmark can still have a lot of rain, but for it to be a drought it just needs to be substantially less water than previous years. Agricultural drought is drought concerning crops and livestock. The plants and animals need water for growing and living, and if they can't get enough water, the crops wither or lead to socio-economic drought is when our demand for water exceeds our supply. For example, in megacities around the world, the need for water is very large. Therefore, if we have trouble providing enough water to cities, it is considered a drought. The problems droughts create are severe. A drought can, as mentioned earlier, destroy crops, leading to starvation in areas as well as the farmers losing money. Droughts may lead farmers to spend more money on drilling new wells, and feeding animals also becomes a lot harder. Drought can not only affect farmers but also the people working at the farms and the people counting on a good harvest to feed their families. In the worst case, a drought can lead to people dying of thirst and starvation. Drought also takes a toll on the environment. A drought can endanger animals' natural habitats, making the animals starve and easier starting of wildfires and erosion of land. We have to prepare for more and much worse droughts in the future. As the global emissions of carbon in the atmosphere increases, climate change will lead to more intense droughts in the future. Global climate change are expected to trigger droughts with a substantial impact on mainly agriculture, especially in developing countries. Even though global warming will increase rainfall in some areas of the world, it will also decrease rainfall in others. There's no doubt that the people who suffer the most from droughts are poor people in third world countries. In developed countries we have the necessary infrastructure to deal with droughts. A good example of this is Dubai, who is currently experiencing the worst drought in 900 years. However, due to having plenty of energy and money, they manage from desalinating water, which uses a lot of energy, a luxury most people in third world countries doesn't have.
The effects of droughts and water shortages can be divided into three groups: environmental, economic, and social. Environmental consequences include lower surface water levels, increased pollution of surface water, the drying out of wetlands, more and larger fires, losing biodiversity, worse health of trees, and the appearing of pests. Economic losses include lower agricultural forest and fishing outputs, higher food production costs, lower energy production levels in hydro plants, problems with water supply for the energy sector and technological processes in metallurgy, mining, chemical, paper, wood, and food industries. The social consequences include the negative effect on the health of people directly exposed to this phenomenon, possible limitation of water supplies and its increased pollution levels, higher food costs, and stressed farmers caused by failed harvests. This is why droughts and freshwater shortages may be considered as a factor which increases the gap between developed and developing countries.
Water conservation is one of the easiest ways to reduce the impacts of drought. Simple everyday tasks, such as turning off the water while brushing the teeth or using a glass to rinse afterwards, can help save gallons of water in a month. On a larger scale, many businesses and cities use greywater to water larger land areas, such as parks and golf courses. Greywater is used water that is treated and cleaned. Agroforestry. Planting trees in and around farms reduces soil erosion by providing a natural barrier against strong winds and rainfall. Tree roots also stabilize and nourish soils. Encourage farmers to grow trees as windbreaks or as part of combined forage and livestock production, among other uses. Alternating crop species leads to soil amendments, allows soil periods of rest, restores nutrients, and also controls pests. Soil amendments help soils retain moisture near the surface by providing a direct source of water and nutrients to plant roots even in times of drought. Monocropping often exposes crops to pests and diseases associated with overcrowding and can increase market dependence on a few varieties. Fruits and vegetables as intercrop is an ideal method. Improving food production. Improved animal husbandry practices can increase milk and meat quantities without the need to increase herd sizes or associated environmental degradation. In India, farmers are improving the quality of their feed by using grass, sorghum, stour, and bran to produce more milk from fewer animals. This also reduces pressure on global corn supplies. Most commercial farming operations rely on a narrow range of commercial breeds selected for their high productivity and low input needs. Selective breeding, however, has also made these breeds vulnerable to disease and changing environments. Protecting ethnic breed is imperative. Meatless Mondays. Choosing not to eat meat at least one day a week will reduce the environmental impacts associated with livestock, as well as increase food availability in domestic and global markets. Drip irrigation can be profitably practiced. This should also be the method to water lawn and kitchen garden. The present practice of using hosepipe uses excess water. Planning water-efficient gardens or farms using specific crops and locations can significantly reduce water scarcity problems. Farming systems such as permaculture improve soil fertility and agricultural productivity by using natural resources as sustainably and efficiently as possible. Research and implementation of permaculture techniques like recycling wastewater or planting groups of plants that utilize the same resources in related ways are to be adopted widely. Small-scale producers are affected more acutely by natural disasters and fluctuating commodity prices, even though they are more likely to be involved in food production. Government extensions and support services should be adjusted to alleviate this deficit. Small and marginal farms are to be extended subsidy in farming seeds. The research and development of farming has to take a determined step and help agriculture with innovative measures.
There are 4 different kinds of drought, where 3 of them are environmental and the last one is about supply and demand. Droughts are very terrible and destructive for the affected area as it creates water shortage, which of course kills the plants, and that will then create a chain reaction and kill the animals that live off those plants and so on. It also creates a higher demand of food for the people who live in the area, and food will become more expensive as there's now less of it. There are ways to halt a drought, as it is visible in Los Angeles, where they poured a large amount of black balls into the water in their dam. The black balls then stop the water from vaporizing. We can then conclude that droughts are terrible things that can ruin a whole ecosystem. There are though ways of halting or preventing it.